flexing that ankle.
Oh, Lee, this late in the game, you do not want to see.
This is Caitlin Clark's second injury of the season, and fans aren't just worried. They're angry because it's more than just a bump or bruise. Depending on how serious it is, it could keep her out of action for some time, but what really irritates them is how preventable the entire situation was.
But the thing that you have to be careful of is if, say, you try to rush her back from this injury as well, then you're getting into this territory where a very serious injury can happen. And with women as well, we are more prone to knee injuries even than the men because of the angle that our hips go to our knees. So the last thing you want is her compensating or her groin not firing properly, and she goes to cut to the side and then all of a sudden something blows in her knee. That is what the Indiana Fever, that is what Caitlin need to avoid the best that they possibly can. So if it means that Caitlin is out for 3 weeks, if it means that she is out all the way through All-Star, then so be it. She has such a long career.
Because this is more than a single play. It has been growing throughout the season and has a cumulative effect. Caitlin Clark is not receiving the proper protection from the referees, other players, or the Fever themselves. Not strategically, not physically, and not by those who ought to be aware of her significance to the game. Now, there is genuine concern not only for Caitlin's health, but also for her career and, consequently, for the WNBA's overall performance. We've already witnessed the consequences of her absence from the court. The league is going to receive another extra-large piece, as seen by the decline in ratings, the collapse of ticket demand, the flatlining of excitement, and the humble pie moment following her last absence. Let's examine what transpired, the reasons for Stephanie White's anger among fans, and the enormous errors that contributed to what may have been the greatest missed chance in sports history. To wish Caitlin a full recovery, please like this video and leave a heart in the comments.
This is JC Sheldon right here with an entire handful of Caitlin Clark's shoulder and bicep, and she's twisting it. Okay? I mean, this is wild. Here's the zoomed out look, the snapshot. I mean, this league does not have control of its players.
Caitlin Clark seems to hurt her groin during this play against the Storm. She is now officially out for an indefinite amount of time. She received daily calls from Stephanie White.
How is she doing? Is there any timeline for her return?
Yeah, she's doing well. She's doing well. Again, no timeline. I think it's day to day, and for us to just make sure that we're continuing to be supportive of DB.
However, lovers of Fever have heard that before.
Stephanie White has now got questions to answer.
Dana had asked to sit out as the team discreetly shopped her around, and now we know that she wasn't actually day-to-day. Stephanie White's news conference responses are no longer believable to fans. This looks to have two possible outcomes.
Like, it's one of two things. It's either it's groin tightness and she'll be back for the Commissioner's Cup game. She's probably going to miss these next two games. Or it's a groin strain and she's out for the All-Star game. Like, it's one of those two and there's no in-between.
Even if this is a minor injury, there's a good chance Caitlin will be sidelined for a long time. Not because supporters want it, but because it's becoming more difficult to ignore the pattern. All of these injuries are obviously related to one another, and nothing appears to be getting better.
But I think we're getting into territory now where it is not, I don't think it's a good idea to just chance it. I don't think it's a good idea to put pressure on yourself to perform when obviously these are all left leg. These are all in the same leg area. So there's definitely something going on around there.
Beyond all of that, a lot of people think that Caitlin's injuries aren't the result of a single, random play. There is a growing suspicion that she has been playing with an injury for days or perhaps weeks, and that the Storm simply made it worse. To be honest, fans are accepting that theory for a few strong reasons. The numbers come first. Caitlin has been acting strangely ever since she was roughed up during that vicious game versus Connecticut. Not merely cold, off, particularly at 3. Over the past few games, she has gone 1 for 23 from beyond the arc. That's not a slump for someone who is well known for logo threes. That's a red flag. Then there's this, though.
So if you guys did not see, in this game right here, against the New York Liberty, she's doesn't have anything strapped up, And people are saying her quad was strapped up against Connecticut's Sun. That is a very high strapping up for a quad.
Here's where fans, especially Stephanie White, are going crazy about the fever. Because it can only mean one thing if Caitlin has been acting hurt all along. They hurried her back.
You guys rushed her back. And within rushing her back, she re-injured that same quad. And then you rushed her back again. And then within rushing her back, she was forced to put pressure and put stress on different areas surrounding that quad. That leads us to our most recent groin injury.
It's accurate. When one area of your body isn't functioning properly, you begin to compensate by applying pressure to other joints and muscles, which leads to other ailments. The question became clear when fans noticed Caitlin wearing that bulky wrap around her leg following her homecoming. Was she really supposed to return that early? Speaking of which, let's return to the Storm game, where supporters are furious with Stephanie White at this same time.
There's a lot of speculation that she did get hurt in the final seconds of the Seattle game.
With 8 seconds remaining, Caitlin was reintroduced into the game. As in, why yes, perhaps Caitlin requested to return. Perhaps she was attempting to get out of her slump, but the coach's role is to protect the player, especially this talent, with 16 seconds remaining and the game already decided.
Caitlin Clark clearly not looking like herself. The Indiana Fever has the game put away, yet we still put her back in the game at 45 seconds left. Caitlin Clark dealing with an injury, not looking like herself. The game is already out of hand, yet we still put her back in with 45 seconds left. How much patience do I need to have before I can start going nuclear? Because I am getting very frustrated with what I am seeing.
You really started out Stephanie White's judgment when you consider that she has obviously been playing despite discomfort with her leg wrapped up for several games in a row. At some point, risk management takes precedence over bravery. Many fans currently believe that the Fever and their coach did not pass the exam.
I just wonder if she's playing through a little more pain than she should. I mean, look what happened to Tyrese Halliburton in the NBA Finals game when he tore his Achilles heel. He had also mentioned having some pain there, and this was like the pinnacle of his career. So he attempted to play through that, and at the very end, he went down.
Fans are becoming increasingly concerned at this point since it's becoming evident that Caitlin Clark isn't receiving the proper management. She has a fierce, competitive spirit. She desires to engage in play. Her goal is to support the team. She is aware that the entire WNBA, not just Indiana, is focused on her. Even if she doesn't express it, she is bearing the burden of everything. However, it is precisely the issue. You need a mechanism in place to safeguard someone who is tenacious, never wants to sit, and feels accountable for a team and a league from herself. Because eventually it won't simply be a few missed games if she perseveres and continues to play while injured. It might be anything.
There's something going on. Is it the nagging quad injury? But it's something to do with the lower half of her body. It is a groin injury. Now we've got an idea of why she's struggling from long range, where it requires, some real push on three-point shots, especially the kind that she takes. And there's nothing worse than a groin injury. It will nag the shit out of you. Trust me, I've had several.
And that's what makes everything even more concerning, because only a year ago, it seemed unimaginable that Caitlin Clark would miss so much time. At Iowa, she never missed a game. She persevered through all of it. Her folklore included that. However, she has now missed over half of the season. All of this is connected to what appears to be a persistent problem with the same leg. A problem that is clearly impairing her performance. A problem that could bother her for the entire season or more if it is not handled appropriately.
And they just kept shoving Caitlin. They're like, well, they can't just keep calling fouls. I'm like, they're literally just running around hacking her. The referees have made it like a point that this is how you beat the Fever. You hack them. It's not being physical. You just hack them. Because the referees are going to allow them be hacked.
And this is really worrisome. This is more than one injury. It has to do with pay. Your body adapts when you play while injured. You have a preference for one leg. Your mechanics change. And that's a risky sport, particularly for female players who are already more vulnerable to knee problems because of anatomical variations.
And one coach told me, we tell our players to be as physical as they can possibly be for 40 minutes because we know for 38 of them, they're pretty much going to get away with it. So I think everybody would like to see a tighter whistle and a little bit more freedom of movement.
We have repeatedly witnessed it. Cameron Brink, Guji Watkins, and Courtney Vanderloot. There is a heartbreakingly long list of elite female athletes who have suffered severe knee injuries. An ACL injury is more than a setback. It's a career-ending moment that has the potential to ruin everything. This is the terrifying situation. What if Caitlin Clark experienced that? Imagine her playing on a leg that was obviously compromised when she tore an ACL during garbage time during the Hurricane game. For her, that would not only be tragic, it would be remembered as the WNBA's greatest tactical blunder. Completely stop. We're discussing a situation that might have caused the league to regress by 10 years. In an instant, all the momentum, new fans, and record-breaking ratings vanished. That's not hyperbole either, because this is the harsh reality. Caitlin Clark is currently more important to the league's future than any player has ever been. If you think I'm overstating things, you won't believe how terrible this is for other gamers in a few minutes. To be clear, the fever isn't the only reason for this. Because of the terrible officiating, which has been a major factor in this entire debacle, fans and analysts are also criticizing the league for how things got so bad.
But it does make me wonder if a player like SGA can get all these fouls called, maybe the refs should call them similarly for Caitlin. Because if the players defending Clark know that they're going to get a whistle every time they hand check her or cover her physically, they will probably do it a lot less. And I get it, you're trying to neutralize this player, but we've entered the realm of player safety here, and Caitlin Clark, who has now gone out for a third time, so I think that this needs to be reassessed.
The fact that the Fever have frequently been given the short end of the whistle this season is no secret. And when it comes to Caitlin Clark, nowhere is it more evident. Opposing players are taking free shots at her game after game, body checks, bumps, grabs, and leaving without any repercussions. Even though supporters had been raising the alarm for weeks, it all came to a head during the game against the Sun. Because fans were upset over more than just the now famous body check and eye poke. It was the culmination of everything.
And it's also a huge blow to the WNBA. Whether some fans like it or not, it was proven the last time that she was out with injury that the WNBA does better when she is on the court. The WNBA ratings across the league dropped by over 50% when Caitlin Clark was out with injury. And this is obviously such a crucial time and a crucial year for the league because they go into CBA negotiations at the end of the year.
However, it seems that this degree of aggressiveness is ingrained in the WNBA. Because this isn't simply an Indiana issue, even though we can debate missed calls against Caitlin Clark and the Fever. It's a problem for the entire league.
It's the nerve, the second-year players clearing out that side of the floor, shooting on Stewie, and then watch the reaction with one another. Stewie's laughing, Caitlin knows it's ridiculous, just out there having a good time.
It's more than a coaching strategy. It is an acknowledgement that the referees are not performing their duties. Players get wounded when coaches design games around physicality because the league won't police its own regulations. It's not just Caitlin either. While I was writing this story, Jade Melbourne of the Mystics literally had her teeth knocked out by an unnecessary elbow.
No hyperbole.
That just took place. Another reminder that there are serious repercussions when the league puts player safety ahead of letting them play. And for years, this has been taking place. Although it's nothing new, it now poses a threat to the one guy who is saving the league on his own. Here's something that many fans are making connections on if you truly want to get forensic with it. This offseason, Caitlin Clark gained a lot of muscle. The extra girth and the flexing on the sidelines were visible to all. She had to bulk up since she was being beaten last year, but it was a major plot point going into the season. It was an obvious message. Building armor is essential if you want to survive in this league. Here's the twist, though. Your mechanics may suffer if you gain muscle quickly, particularly in your legs and core. Your lift on shots changes, your stride changes, and most importantly, if your movement patterns haven't properly evolved, your chance of injury rises. Therefore, it's possible that she wouldn't have needed to develop into a linebacker in order to survive a season if the league had encouraged officials to truly enforce the laws. Perhaps we wouldn't be on the verge of another Caitlin Clark injury spiral if the league reduced the toughness a little rather than using it as a selling feature.
I need to get in the field.
You need to come to the
I
meeting.
gotta get in the meetings because I'm hearing they don't give us, if y'all don't give us what we want, we sit out.
That's a possibility, for real.
Yeah.
To be clear, no one is advocating for Caitlin Clark to be exempt from interaction. The game involves physicality. That's basketball.
Sports are like that.
However, playing tough defense and flagrantly ignoring clear fouls or allowing dirty moves to go unpunished are two very different things. Fans are not requesting preferential treatment. It's simple rule enforcement. And it begins with the referees. Bring in the birds. Just because it's Caitlin doesn't mean you should swallow the whistle. The league must then support that. Track down the players who go over the line. Set a standard and suspend repeat violators. However, it also begins with something more basic. Respect. The other players' respect. Respect for the star who puts food on everyone's table in addition to advancing the game. Caitlin Clark is the rising tide that is lifting all boats, whether they choose to acknowledge it or not. Additionally, stars are safeguarded in other leagues like the NBA or the NHL. And the fact that none of this has been handled is kind of mind-boggling because I wonder what will happen next. It will be hideous once more.
About this groin injury and how much of an absence do you expect from her beyond today?
Yeah, late last night. I think it's very much a day-to-day thing, how she responds to treatment. I stay in my lane and let our.
Who gives a shit how she responds to treatment? Keep her out for a week. Keep her out for a week or two. Let's make sure she's healthy. 110%, 150%.
It has gotten to the point where it is no longer even a debate. It's a quantifiable pattern. Ratings plummet when Caitlin Clark is absent. The WNBA suddenly seems silent as viewership stagnates and social interaction declines. However, as soon as she returns, bang. And it's due to times like this.
This one's on the coach. This one seems to be on the coach.
It was more than simply a sentimental occasion when Caitlin returned to the Liberty. It was an earthquake of ratings. The average number of viewers for that game was 2.2 million, with a peak of 2.8 million. Among the most watched games in WNBA history. People appear in the arena and on their screens when Caitlin is on the floor. However, the numbers are about to plummet once more. And things worsen. The Commissioner Cup Final, a major event designed to increase league interest and revenue, is a genuine possibility that Caitlin may miss it. She might miss the All-Star game, which would be even worse. That would be a complete catastrophe for the ratings. Additionally, the stakes for the players are cold, hard money rather than just exposure. Millions of dollars in potential advertising revenue, bonuses, goods, and momentum might be lost if Caitlin skips any one of those events. The fever isn't the only issue here. Even Caitlin is no longer the only focus. With its biggest ticket, the entire league is taking a chance. Fans are aware of this.
With Caitlin, when did you guys find out about this groin injury and how much of an absence do you expect from her beyond today?
Yeah, late last night. I think it's very much a day-to-day thing, how she responds to treatment.
After a second break from Caitlin Clark, WNBA players are delusional if they believe they still have any influence. Given that Caitlin Clark is in charge of everything, owners won't give in to pressure. The merchandise, the ratings, the publicity. Additionally, the numbers plummet when she isn't playing. Now, everyone can see it. Player leverage was destroyed by her initial injury. This one closes it completely. It's finished. The most absurd aspect is that neither the players nor the league seem to understand. Fans of Caitlin, however, do.
Boston hands it off as Clark's back in. She goes down. And midcourt and flexing that ankle.
Oh, Lee, this late in the game, you do not want to see.
The trust has vanished as of right now. The fans have had enough. Caitlin Clark isn't the only one being let down by a league that penalizes its brightest star on the court and a team that refuses to shield her even when she is obviously in pain. The future of the women's game is in jeopardy. Calling out the referees, requesting fewer cheap shots, or implying that Caitlin should have some protection may sound subtle. However, even those who despise her must ask themselves, do you really want a league without her? Please let me know if you're still here by leaving a basketball in the comments. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you later.